And that's exactly what I witnessed in 2009, participating in an ultrasound-guided abortion procedure. Most of you probably know my story. I can talk to you about the abortion clinic imposing abortion quotas. Well, some of you are looking like you don't know what I'm talking about, so okay, I'll just go ahead and say, in 2009, things had started changing for me. In 2009, we were building the largest, it's operating now, the largest abortion facility in the Western Hemisphere in Houston, Texas. And I had an office in that building that was going to be opened. And I found out in January that we were going to be performing abortions in the 3rd trimester. And that was a problem for me because of my strict morals. But that was a problem for me because I believed that, if a baby could survive on its own outside of the womb, then certainly that was not okay to take its life. It was viability for me. And one day I was reading a very scientific article in People magazine, and I learned about this baby who stopped growing at 20 weeks and 6 days, and she was born and she was healthy, and now she's like 12 years old, or I don't know. But anyway, and I thought, okay, well, now I've got to move my viability line back, right? Because it was at 24 weeks, and now it's at 20 weeks and 6 days. And in January, they announced to us we were going to be doing abortions in the 3rd trimester, and that was problematic for me. And I think that was the first time I ever came home. I came home from that meeting. I think it was the first time I ever looked at my husband and said, I'm not sure that I'm going to be retiring with Planned Parenthood, because that was my goal. That's what I wanted. And you know what they called those of us that were on the retirement plan? Lifers. They probably changed the name now, but anyway. So that's what I thought I was going to do. And then April of 2009, I was awarded Planned Parenthood's Employee of the Year for 2008. And that was really exciting for me. I know you're all very proud of me. Thank you. And I got to go to their annual fundraiser, and I got to sit at the table with Hillary Clinton. Don't be jealous. And we had a very intimate conversation, me, Hillary, and 10 Secret Servicemen. And so that was good. So, then I was kind of like, all right, well, I was disappointed in January to find out we were going to be doing 3rd trimester abortion, but okay, this was fun, and so maybe I can just keep it up. I can just keep doing this. And then August of 2009, I had a meeting with my supervisor, and we were going over my budget for the upcoming fiscal year. And she told me that they were imposing an abortion clinic quota, and by the way, we were going to be expected to double the amount of abortions that we had provided the previous year. And that didn't make sense to me because at Planned Parenthood, we are about preventing the need for abortion. We are about reducing the number of abortions. So why in the world would we be doubling this abortion quota? It doesn't make any sense. So I said something to my supervisor, and she looked at me and she laughed. And she said, why would we reduce the abortion number, Abby? That's how we make our money. And I thought, well, okay, this is an interesting turn of events for me. I don't know where I'm going to go from here, but I've been thinking about it for about a month. And September of 2009, we had a visiting physician come in from out of town, and he had a private practice abortion facility in Austin. And he was explaining to me one time at the clinic that inside of his own private practice abortion facility that he used an ultrasound because he was explaining, shockingly enough, that it's actually safer if a doctor can see what he's doing while he's performing surgery. And I'd never thought about this. I just want to make it clear, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a nurse, I'm not even a medical assistant. I have no medical authority or education. I'm a licensed therapist. So if you're having a crummy day, we can talk about it. But if you need any sort of medical procedure, I'm really not your gal. But inside of the abortion industry, they don't care. You just have to be willing and sit through an in-house training session, and then they set you loose to perform invasive medical procedures on women. And I had gone through that training. So the only thing I knew about abortion was what Planned Parenthood had told me. I only knew their protocols. Me, as a non-medical staff person and the director of that clinic, supervised doctors. I supervised nurses. I mean, it doesn't even make sense. But, you know, they don't care about you being medically certified. They just need you to follow a protocol. And really, if you are medically certified and you're running a clinic, you may start having questions, and they don't want that. Just do what you're told, read the protocol, follow the procedure. And so I didn't even know that they did abortions using ultrasound guidance. That was totally new to me. He told me that, Planned Parenthood didn't do it because it takes a little bit of extra time when you're using an ultrasound during the abortion. Our goal at Planned Parenthood was to get a woman on the table and off the table in 5 minutes. And so to introduce an ultrasound during that would take an extra, 3 to 5 minutes. And, we were trying to do 30 to 50 abortions a day. So, you just don't have that extra 3 to 5 minutes per patient. But this doctor told me that it would be interesting for me to see it. It would be a good learning opportunity, educational opportunity for me. And so he said if time permitted that he would show me what this looked like. And that time did come, and I was asked to come into the room, and my job during the abortion was to hold the ultrasound probe on the woman's abdomen so the doctor could, in his words, visualize his target. Again, not medically certified, but I'm doing an ultrasound. I had done them lots of times. So doing an ultrasound, we do the measurement, 13 weeks gestation. Now at 13 weeks, are there arms and legs? Fingers and toes? Yes. Heartbeat? Yes. Brain waves? Yes. Internal organs? Yeah, everything's there. Outside the womb, the baby's about this big. And we can even tell if it's a boy or a girl at that point. Now, I knew that. I knew what the aftermath of abortion looked like because I had been a POC technician. What does POC stand for? Products of conception. You guys are so smart. What is that? That's the baby, right? You can say baby inside of the abortion clinic. So we said POC or POC, or the staff was feeling funny. They said it stood for pieces of children. And inside of every abortion clinic across the country, there is someone tasked to be the POC technician. And our job is to take everything that's suctioned out of the uterus, dump it into a glass baking dish, reassemble the parts to ensure that we got everything during the abortion. I did that. I can't really explain to you how I was able to do that job and not be bothered. I mean, I have no explanation for it except to say that when you are living in that sort of sin, when you are experiencing that sort of evil, see, the evil of abortion, it's actually very tangible. See, I could see that evil when I piece those parts back together, right? I could feel it when I would manipulate the parts of those babies. Abortion has a very distinct smell. I could smell it. And when evil that real infiltrates your heart and your head, the only thing I can say is that it can literally blind you to the truth that's right in front of you. And so I was standing there looking at the ultrasound and feeling a little nervous because I didn't know what I was going to see, but I knew one thing was for sure, and that was that this baby, this fetus, whatever, was not going to feel anything. Now, how did I know that? Because Planned Parenthood sent me a memo about it, and the memo was entitled Answers to Tough Questions. The most frequently asked question I got from women seeking an abortion was, will my baby feel this? And Planned Parenthood knew that we had to have a very clever answer. And our answer was no, the fetus has no sensory development or does not feel anything for 28 weeks. Now, do you believe that? No. Well, I did. I knew better. I knew it was a lie. I mean, I had to believe the lie because the truth was really inconvenient for me. You know why 28 weeks? Because Planned Parenthood doesn't do abortions past 28 weeks. They just picked a number that would be financially smart for them. And so I was standing there, I was reminding myself, I was reciting the scripted answer over and over again in my head, and I watched as the cannula, the suction tube, the suction wasn't turned on yet, I watched it go into the woman's uterus, and I watched it go right up next to the side of this little boy, and as it touched his side, he jumped. And he began flailing his arms and legs as if he was trying to move away from the abortion instrument, but there was nowhere for him to go. And the doctor asked the technician to turn on the suction machine, and he said, "Beam me up, Scotty." And the suction was turned on, and I guess people think that what I saw next was the worst part, and it was bad. What I saw next was bad. I saw pieces of this child being suctioned into the tube one at a time. And you know how on an x-ray, bones are white? You know, like cartilage is white on an x-ray? Well, the very last thing I saw on that ultrasound screen was this little white, perfectly formed backbone. And I saw it twirling around inside the mother's womb, and then it finally went into the tube, and the screen was just black. And I knew that the abortion was complete. Abortion is the only procedure I can think of where its success is determined by taking the life of another person.